Welcome to the Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern, where every cup tells a story, and every story starts with a sip. Join us on a journey of adventure, camaraderie, and of course, the finest brews, served hot and steeped in mystery. From dragons to ancient legends, we're brewing up more than just coffee. Today's tale begins as our fellowship sets forth chasing riddles of the Grail. But the path to glory proves less golden and more muddy. Storms drench their spirits, wild geese guard mysterious treasures, and every step becomes a tumble toward calamity. But before we dive into today's adventure, a quick word from our sponsor.
In the heart of every great quest, there's a hero. And behind every hero, there's their morning brew. At Dungeon Brew Coffee, we craft bold blends for adventurers like you. From the depths of dark roasted caverns to the peaks of spiced mountains, every sip fuels your next move.
Don't forget, it's dragon approved.
Thank you for that reminder, Java. Whether you're battling spreadsheets, chasing dreams, or simply savoring life, Dungeon Brew Coffee is your trusted companion. Unleash the flavor, conquer your day. Visit us online or in the heart of your favorite adventure. Dungeon Brew Coffee, where legends begin.
Now, grab your mug, settle in, and get ready for the next chapter in our brewing saga. Episode 40, The Grail of Lost Recipes, Part 2, The Muddy Grail Trail. The morning had promised adventure, yet the sky above had other ideas. Storm clouds rolled thick and gray, carrying the smell of rain and the promise of trouble. Our heroes found themselves trudging down a narrow, half-forgotten cart path. Once solid, the road was now a mire of mud, sucking at boots and paws alike as the drizzle turned to sheets of rain. Java walked near the front, his little black scales glistening as he tried to keep his spirits high. Nived, however, was less enthused.
Ugh. Disgraceful. My glorious crimson scales were not meant to wallow in filth. Look at this sheen, it's ruined.
You're not the only one, Dragon. Wet fur, mud clumps, it'll take me hours to clean this mess. Hours!
Behind them, Braticus stomped happily along, oblivious to the mud creeping up his boots. His braids swung with every step, and his grin was broad, perhaps too broad.
Ha! This is nothing. A little mud builds character. Why, in my youth, I once marched for days through swamp water up to my chest, carrying 3 barrels and a donkey.
And no doubt the donkey tells the tale differently.
Fate Scold walked with serene detachment, her cloak clinging darkly to her shoulders as though it had always known rain. She seemed less bothered by the storm than the company, though a faint smirk betrayed her amusement. Java, ever the optimist, spread his tiny wings to shake off droplets, trying to rally the group.
At least the air is fresh. Nothing like a good storm to wash away the dust of the road. And besides, doesn't the riddle say we're on the right path?
The riddle also said the Grail waits by the sea. Yet here we are, knee-deep in muck, nowhere near a beach.
This keeps up, the Grail's going to be a bar of soap to clean ourselves with.
A gust of wind swept across the path, sending water dripping from every tree branch and soaking their hoods even further. Java pressed on, determined, though the mud sucked at his paws like greedy hands. Braticus puffed out his chest and spoke with far too much confidence.
Fear not. When we reach the coast, I shall simply stride across the waves themselves, leading us straight to the Grail.
Stride across the waves? I'd pay good coin to see someone do that.
We can barely stride across this puddle.
And right on cue, Braticus planted his foot squarely in a waterlogged dip. The mud claimed him in an instant, sending him sprawling forward with a splash that painted everyone in earthen tones.
Oh, Braticus!
This was a tactical maneuver, testing the depth of the ground for our safety.
Then perhaps you've invented a new kind of camouflage. Tavern chic, mud edition.
And so, with rain pelting their backs, boots heavy with muck, and tempers dampened but unbroken, the companions pressed onward, toward the coast, toward the Grail, and toward whatever nonsense the next clue would surely bring. The storm pressed on, and so did our fellowship, dripping, squelching, and slipping like a traveling circus of soggy misfortune. Just when patience threatened mutiny, fate's sharp eyes caught something unusual, a rock half buried at the roadside, carved with a strange verse.
Seek ye the Grail, by goose and by tide. Where feathers are plenty, the secret will hide.
Feathers? Oh, brilliant. We've traded riddles for poultry.
Finally, a riddle I understand. It clearly means goose roasted goose. With garlic sauce.
No. It's symbolic. Goose and tide, like a brewing metaphor. Perhaps goose down was used to strain ancient coffee grounds?
Nay, friends. It is clear. The Grail lies guarded by geese, formidable beasts, known for their unyielding courage. I accept this noble trial.
And as though the universe took that as an invitation, there came the honking. First faint, then louder. From over the rise waddled an army. A flock of fat, white geese, wings spread and eyes glinting with fury.
Oh, perfect. Our noble trial has arrived.
The geese hissed like tiny dragons, then charged. Mud splattered, wings flapped, and chaos descended.
Face me, feathered fiends. You'll not cow Braticus Aurelius.
One goose latched onto his braid and refused to let go, riding him like a knight charging into battle.
They're everywhere! Quick, shoo them! Shoo? Oh no! Not the tail! Not the tail!
Java darted in circles, a goose snapping furiously at his backside. Nived, in desperation, inhaled deeply and breathed a small puff of spiced flame.
Begone, foul creatures. Taste the fire of.
But instead of fleeing, the geese grew more excited, honking wildly as if Nived had just seasoned himself. One tried to bite his head ridge as if it were a horn.
They think I'm dinner. Unhand me, you feathery fiend.
One's got my ear. My ear. Get it off before ow.
Meanwhile, Fate stood perfectly still, watching the madness unfold, rain dripping from her hood. She lifted one hand, muttered a single word, and a bolt of thunder cracked overhead. The geese froze, then immediately redoubled their attack.
Yes. That went exactly as expected.
Slipping, sliding, shrieking, our heroes tumbled through puddles and mud, chased relentlessly by their honking tormentors. The storm above roared its approval, and for a moment, one might wonder, perhaps the Grail was never a chalice at all, but simply the friends we lost to geese along the way. The cart path became a battlefield of feathers and flailing limbs. The rain turned the ground into a slick of mud, transforming every heroic stand into a pratfall worthy of bardic ballads, though not the kind our companions might prefer.
Stand firm. We cannot let poultry best us.
But standing firm proved difficult, as the mud betrayed him once more. Braticus slipped backward, arms pinwheeling, and landed flat on his back. The goose still clinging to his braid gave a triumphant honk.
Braticus! Grab my paw! I've got whoa!
Java lunged to help, only for his tiny claws to skid across the mud. He tumbled, landing directly on Braticus' chest with a wet splat. Both groaned as another goose proudly perched atop the pile.
I am a dragon, not a dinner plate. Release me at once, you feathery demons.
One particularly bold goose had Nived by the tail, dragging him in circles like a child tugging a toy cart. His sputtering flame did little more than warm the rain.
This is absurd. We're meant to be chasing legends, not running from barnyard bullies.
She shook herself free of one goose only for another to immediately latch onto her leg. With a snarl, she waded into the fray, tail lashing, ears flat, looking more swamp monster than healer.
That's it. Tonight's stew is goose.
The geese, unbothered by threats of stewing, charged again. Wings battered, mud flew, and honks echoed through the storm like battle horns. Through it all, Fate remained curiously calm, merely stepping aside whenever a goose lunged too close. Her cloak remained almost untouched, as if the rain itself avoided her.
It seems destiny favors geese this day.
Fate! A little help, please!
But you're doing so well on your own.
The chase spiraled down the slope, heroes and geese alike sliding in one great wave of mud and feathers until they came to a heaving stop in a shallow ditch. The geese, satisfied with their victory, gave a few last honks of warning before strutting away proudly, leaving our fellowship battered, muddy, and utterly humiliated.
I nearly had them. Another minute and victory would have been mine.
Do you define victory as being plucked and roasted yourself?
If I never see another goose, it will be too soon.
Yet as the rain eased for just a moment, something caught their eyes in the mud where the geese had been so intent. A soggy, half-buried sack. Could this bedraggled bundle hold the Grail at last? The sack sat half-sunken in the ditch, rainwater dripping from its edges. Our bedraggled fellowship, coated in mud and feathers, gathered around it like children hoping for a festival prize.
This is it. It must be. The Grail of lost recipes, hidden right where the geese guarded it.
Or it's just another farmer's trash bag.
Braticus, with a dramatic flourish far too grand for the moment, plunged his hands into the mud and hauled the sack free. With squelching anticipation, he untied the sodden string.
Behold, my friends. Within this humble sack lies
Moldy bread, a cracked jug, and one crumbling scrap of parchment, so water damaged the ink had all but vanished.
That's it? A sack of garbage? We fought an army of demon geese for this?
Congratulations. We've discovered the legendary recipe for mud pies.
No, look, there are words. Sort of, maybe, it says, flour, water, goose.
That's just the stain from your paw, Java.
nonsense. Surely this cracked vessel once held ambrosia. Or mead. Or some ancient brew beyond imagination.
He tipped it eagerly, only to have stagnant ditch water pour down his tunic.
Still better than tavern ale in some villages I've known.
Not every quest leads to treasure. Some lead only to mud and feathers.
The party stood in soggy silence, rain pattering down, the weight of their wild goose chase settling in. And yet, beneath the frustration, laughter threatened.
Well, at least we'll have quite the story to tell back at the tavern.
If anyone laughs at me, I'll roast them. Slowly. With garlic.
By the time the weary band stumbled back to Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern, they looked less like heroes and more like swamp-born phantoms. Mud streaked every face, feathers clung to every cloak, and their boots squelched with every step across the threshold. The tavern's regulars turned to stare. Then, as one, the room erupted in laughter.
What happened? Lose a war with the chicken coop?
Not chickens. Worse.
Geese.
More laughter filled the tavern as the group peeled off wet cloaks and settled by the hearth. Java busied himself brewing a round of hot cider, while Knived grudgingly agreed to toast some bread over the flames. Patches stretched, ears flicking as she finally began to relax. Braticus, however, saw an opportunity. Standing tall, once he shook off the mud, he cleared his throat and addressed the crowd.
Friends, lend me your ears, for today you shall hear of a battle most perilous. The trial of the Grail, wherein 1,000 geese, each the size of a warhorse, descended upon us in the storm.
It was 20. And none bigger than a goat.
Wings like thunderclouds, beaks sharp as daggers. They charged us in endless waves, determined to guard their ancient treasure.
Treasure? You mean that sack of mold?
Shush, let him finish. It's better this way.
Braticus launched into full performance mode, arms wide, voice booming, embellishing every slip, tumble, and honk into an epic worthy of song. The patrons roared with delight, some even clapping along, enthralled by his tale. And yet, even stripped of Braticus' flair, the truth was no less ridiculous. Mud, feathers, rain, and chaos. A wild goose chase in every sense.
Destiny does not always grant gold or glory, but it never fails to grant comedy.
At last, with mugs raised and laughter echoing off the tavern's beams, the companions found what they hadn't sought but truly needed: warmth, camaraderie, and a reminder that even the silliest quests can be worth the journey. the fire is low, the mugs are empty, and tonight's tale has come to an end. But the journey is far from over. Thank you for gathering with us at Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern, where adventure brews with every sip. Join us next time as new challenges arise, mysteries deepen, and the magic of the tavern unfolds. If you enjoyed this taste of adventure, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode. We'll save a seat for you at the tavern. See you soon.